Good day everyone. Hope you all are doing good. Okay, now coming to this class now. This is my English 4. I'm meeting you for the fourth class of mine here, and in the last class of mine I had just given you a brief introduction about Romeo and Juliet, and I had done two pre-reading activities of the poem, right? So I had given you a small task, I had given you a small assignment of list the greatest or the tragedies and the comedies written by Shakespeare. So where do you think Romeo and Juliet is falling? So obviously Romeo and Juliet will definitely come under what? Tragedies, isn't it? So it's one of the greatest tragedies that Shakespeare has ever written. Why? Because the legendary love stories usually end with sadness, or they end with the death of a protagonist or the main character here. So in this similar way, what we need to understand here about this text Romeo and Juliet is that you need to understand what is the background to this Romeo and Juliet. As the name itself would suggest, Romeo is the protagonist of this story, of this play, so to say, and Juliet is the female counterpart who is actually again a protagonist, so to say, one of the important characters that the play unfolds. And as I said, you have been prescribed not the whole play but only two dialogues by these two different characters. And these two dialogues are spoken by these respective characters at different times. Usually, Shakespearean plays are broadly categorized as comedies and tragedies, and they usually have 5 acts in it, divided into multiple scenes within the acts. Okay, so if you take an example of any of the plays by Shakespeare, usually it will have 5 acts in it, which has been divided into different scenes according to how the storyline is all about. Okay, so let us come to that part later on, but let us understand what is the background to this title Romeo and Juliet. Okay, so all of you know that a city of Verona. So the actual play begins in the city of Verona. Okay, now the background is given to you in the textbook itself, and you will have to see that the background to the play runs like this. So when I say two different characters, Romeo and Juliet, obviously we will have to talk about two different families, isn't it? So boy, so to say, a protagonist belonging to one family, whereas there is a female, or so to say Juliet, belonging to another family. Now what is the background? This is the background. There were the two noble families of Verona. So Verona is a place wherein the action takes place, and the two noble families of Verona. So you got to be very, very specific here about these two families. The first one is the Capulets and the Montagues. Okay, so there are two different families in the city of Verona, and they are considered to be the very noble families. Okay, one is Capulets, the other one is Montagues. Okay, so the reference is to the text is given before we start reading something on what Romeo and Juliet, these dramatic monologues are about, or what do they speak about in the background. Okay, so two families, one name is Verona, name of the city where the action is taking place. There are two families, Capulets and Montagues. Okay, but though they were considered as the noble families of the town, but they were sworn enemies. So there was a very, what can I say, a harsh enmity was there between these two families, the Capulets and the Montagues. Okay, then Romeo and Juliet belonged to these rival families. What is rival? opposite, isn't it? Rival are stanch opposites, like one who cannot see another, or they are very sworn enemies in such a way that both the families were considered as the rivals to one another. Of course, there is no doubt they are the noble families of the city of Verona, but they are stern enemies. Romeo and Juliet, both of these characters belong to these two different families which are called as the rival families. Once, old Lord Capulet. Okay, so what you need to understand here is that Juliet is actually from Capulet family, whereas Romeo is from the other family, that is Montagues. Okay. Now, what happens one day is that old Lord Capulet, that is the old Lord Capulet, hosts a supper, S-U-P-P-E-R, hosts a grand supper. Though Romeo belonged to the family of Montagues, he attended the supper in disguise. Disguise? Not revealing his original identity. He was there, that is, Romeo was present in that supper, though he was belonging to the rival family, but he was hiding his own identity. He never revealed his identity as he was Romeo. So he came there as in disguise. Hope you are specific about this word, disguise, not revealing the original, the actual identity of a person. So he attended that supper that was hosted by Lord Capulet. Okay, so he was in disguise to see a character or a female character by name Rosaline. Okay, now Rosaline, so just understand it in this form, like there are two families. Capulet family, nothing but, who's this? Juliet, right? And Montagues, from this family we have the protagonist of the play, Romeo. Okay, now one of the old members of this Capulet family in the city of Verona. Where is the action taking place? Action is taking place in the city of Verona, isn't it? Now here two noble families, Capulet and Montague. Okay, and Juliet and Romeo, the title of the play, at the same time the protagonists of the story that we are going to read in a while now. Okay, so this Lord Capulet, one of the old lords of the Capulet, one day hosted a grand supper, where obviously Montagues were not invited because of their rivalry between these two families. But the person from Montague's family, that is Romeo, attended the supper that was hosted by Lord Capulet. Do you think he came just like Romeo? No. He was in disguise. That is, he was hiding his original identity. He was hiding his actual identity, and he dressed like someone else, and he attended this supper that was hosted by Capulets. And why did he come there? Was to meet Rosaline. Now, this is the name of another female character, where he came in disguise to meet this girl or to meet this lady called Rosaline. Okay, so Lord Capulet, there he sees Juliet on the dance floor. When Romeo in disguise comes to see Rosaline in the grand supper hosted by the Capulet family, he for the first time sees Juliet, who was dancing on the dance floor. Okay, when there he sees Juliet on the dance floor and is fascinated by her beauty. Fascinated. When I say this word, love at first sight, Remember, we are doing something on legendary love stories, isn't it? And we also have talked about how these love stories usually end, isn't it? Now, when Romeo in disguise has attended this grand supper hosted by Lord Capulet in order to meet Rosaline, sees someone else, and that is nothing but Juliet. Okay, when he sees Juliet, she was on the dance floor and he was mesmerized, or he was, we say that now, like, love at first sight or something. The moment he saw Juliet, he fell in love with her. That's what he says, like, on the dance floor, and is fascinated by her beauty. After the dance, he learns that she is the daughter of Lord Capulet. So the man who has hosted the supper, okay, his daughter is nothing but Juliet. He comes to know at a later point of time that she is the daughter of Lord Capulet. On the other hand, Juliet, who sees Romeo, she also feels attracted to the man from the enemy family. So it's a love at first sight between Romeo and Juliet. So both of them are attracted, or both of them have attracted to each other. Okay, so the man, she also feels fascinated to the man who is her rival, who is her enemy. The following verses, express their implicit feelings for one another. Now this is the background to what you are going to study, Romeo and Juliet. The two monologues, one spoken by Romeo, the other one spoken by Juliet. Am I clear? Okay, don't get confused, just look into this, okay? The action takes place in Verona. There are two different families. One is Capulets, the other one is Montagues. Capulet, daughter is Juliet. Montagues, maybe the son, is Romeo. Okay. Both of them were noble families in this town, but they were very stern enemies. They were very sworn enemies. So they were always called as the rivals in their families. Okay. So what happens here is that Romeo, who was in disguise to meet Rosaline, the lady whom he thinks he was loving, okay, he wanted to see her, he wanted to meet her. That is why he changed his identity in disguise, went to this supper arranged by the Lord Capulet, where he sees Juliet for the first time. The moment he sees her, he actually falls in love with her. And on the other hand, yes, even Juliet also feels attracted towards Romeo, who was from the rival family. And the prescribed two monologues, one by Romeo, the other one by Juliet, tells us about their feelings to one another. Getting what Romeo thinks of Juliet, and on the other hand, what Juliet thinks of Romeo. So this is the background to the play. Okay, you got to understand this particular aspect of the text about Romeo and Juliet. Okay, so if I have to tell you a very gistful summary of Romeo and Juliet, it will take a lot of time. Probably you could read the summary, the very brief summary of the play, where you can see that both Romeo and Juliet, being rival family members to each other, fell in love. What were the consequences? What was their love was all about, and how did they meet their end at the end of the play is actually the full Romeo and Juliet, stretch across 5 acts, one greatest tragedy. Okay, you can understand or you can just know about what were the consequences that were made, what were the rivalry between these two families, and who were so many characters that come across. All these things probably you can read it, in the summary, or if you have done this play in your earlier classes also, you can just recollect that and just think from here. Actually, two verses in the form of monologues are given. What do you mean by a monologue? Monologue is nothing but a speech by one character. It could be a very lengthy one, or it could be a speech continuously spoken by one character without any what disturbance, or without anyone else's intervention. Okay, so here it is actually a monologue. In the first monologue, which was spoken by Romeo, Romeo is expressing his feelings about Juliet. On the other hand, Juliet is expressing her feelings on what she can expect from Romeo. You know what is the background to this play, isn't it? Okay, so keep all these things in your mind, and then you can start playing, or you can just start reading these verses. So before I start reading these two monologues of different characters, please see to it that what you are reading at the point in the actual play. Okay, the first monologue is by Romeo, and this is somewhere that happens in the first act, scene number 5. Okay, the first monologue spoken by Romeo is the Act 1, Scene 5th. Okay, so you know that archaic English. Why? Because English that was written in the 16th or the 15th century by William Shakespeare, the same similar words are here, and you will have to read it line by line to understand or to comprehend the feelings of Romeo. Okay, so when we talk here about the feelings of these characters to each other, it is given in terms of the monologue. Okay, the first one. First I will read, just try to understand whatever that comes into your mind, and then probably we will discuss about what actually Romeo is expressing his feelings to Juliet. Romeo. Oh, she doth teach the torches to burn bright. It seems she hangs upon the cheek of night as a rich jewel in an Ethiopia's ear. Beauty too rich for use, for earth too dear. She shows a snowy dove trooping with crows, as yonder lady over her fellows shows. The measure done, I will watch her place of stand, and touching hers, make blessed my rude hand. Did my heart love till now? Forswear it sight, for I never saw true beauty till this night. So this is a monologue spoken by Romeo. I told you the exact verses are taken from the play from Act 1 and Scene 5. So obviously now you can think in your mind that Romeo is actually talking to us about this monologue for the first time when he saw Juliet on the dance floor. Okay? But in actual fact, Romeo was in disguise, and he wanted to attend this supper that was hosted by Lord Capulet to see Rosaline, isn't it? But when he saw, or when he went to the old supper in disguise, for the first time he saw Juliet. So when he saw Juliet for the first time, these are the words that he is speaking about the first sight of Juliet to Romeo. Okay? Oh, okay? He is expressing his feelings now. The moment he saw Juliet on the dance floor. It is also called as dance ball. You will have so many connotations and references to what is it called as there, okay. But what you need to understand here is that, oh, she doths. Doths is nothing but does. She does teach. Who does teach? Juliet. Romeo is speaking and telling that Juliet teaches the torches to burn bright. Okay, means to say that the beauty of Juliet was brighter than the torches. Getting? When she is in a position to teach the torches, how can they be bright? Here he has used this simile. Simile? Figure of speech, you know that, right? So when the comparisons are made, so figure of speech is a language or a lines that have been used by the so many different poets and playwrights, or whoever it is, in order to suggest what kind of a figure of speech are they talking to us about. So here he is completely using all these similes to compare the beauty of Juliet. Okay, so the first comparison of Juliet's beauty is made to the torches, where the beauty of Juliet is something which can teach. The torches can be glown better, or which can be brighter than, or her beauty is brighter than those of the torches. It seems, he says, Romeo is again saying in the second line, it seems Juliet hangs upon the cheek of night. Okay. What is night usually? Somewhere everything is dark, isn't it? Night is usually dark, isn't it? So it seems she hangs, her beauty hangs upon the cheek of night as a torch, or maybe a beauty which is brighter than torch. I hope I'm clear, right? So it seems she hangs upon the cheek of night as a rich jewel in an Ethiopia's ear. The beauty of Juliet in the night is compared as very bright, brighter than a torch, and it is been compared to a jewel, a rich jewel. Jewels are usually made up of the diamonds or whatsoever, isn't it? But they are known for their glow, isn't it? So the glow in such a way that though there is night, but still because of the light or something, it is a rich jewel in an Ethiopia's ear. Ethiopia, a country from Africa, one of the African countries. Okay, so here it seems to me that the beauty of Juliet is something which is a cheek of a night, which is hanging on the rich, which is hanging as a rich jewel in an Ethiopia's ear. Mean to say that Africans are usually what? They are in black in color, isn't it? So all these Africans, so her beauty is teaching that in a dance ball where she was dancing, she was the one who was brightest among everyone else. Getting? So Juliet was the brightest among everyone else who was present there in the dance ball. Okay, so as a rich jewel in Ethiopia's ear, beauty too rich for use. The beauty of Juliet is too rich. Why? Because she belongs to Lord Capulet, one of the noble families in the city of Verona. So that is why he says beauty was very rich to use, for earth too dear. Even on the whole earth, her beauty was something which was regarded as the brightest of all. Okay, then she shows a snowy dove. Snowy dove, usually in white in color, isn't it? He is making a reference to a bird. Snowy dove trooping with crows. Now here a simile is used by Shakespeare in order to show that the beauty of Juliet was the brightest. She was the fairest amongst all the people who were there on the dance floor, and she was the one who could show even lights to the torch, or maybe to the sun, or maybe to any brighter object. Her beauty is compared to earth, it was very rich to use. At the same time, her beauty is compared to a jewel in an Ethiopia's ear. A reference is all other people who were there with Juliet on the dance floor were very dull, or they were not as good as, or they were not as bright as Juliet. That is what Romeo is telling here. Okay, so she shows, that is, the beauty of Juliet shows a snowy doe. She was one very white or a fairer lady or a woman surrounded by trooping with the crows. That is, crows is a reference made to the other men around Juliet on the dance floor. Getting? Snowy dove, reference to Juliet. Crows, reference to other men or women in the dance ball. Okay, so she shows a snowy dove trooping with crows as yonder lady over her fellows show. This was something that was very glaring. This is what he noticed. Why? He actually wanted to meet Rosaline there, isn't it? But the moment he saw the beauty of Juliet, he forgot everything. And he fell in love with Juliet, isn't it? So, the yonder lady over her fellows shows. The measure was done. I will watch her place of stand. That is, I will forget each and everything that is there, and I will concentrate, or I will just see only this jewel, the rich jewel. I will see only this light which is brighter than a torch. Okay, I will see only this rich beauty on earth, who is compared as a dove, a snowy dove which was in white color, who was surrounded by the different crows. Crows is a reference to the other men or women in the dance ball. Okay, dance ball. As yonder lady over her fellow shows, the measure done. The measure was done. What is that measure? I will watch her place of stand. I will forget everything. I will just see only the place where she is standing, and I will watch her, the place where she is standing. For me, right now, Juliet is the brightest lady that I have ever seen in my life. This is what he wants to tell us. And touching hers, I start feeling, touching hers, make blessed my rude hand. Here, Romeo is expressing how he felt attracted, or how he was fascinated to the beauty of Juliet on the Grand Supper. Getting? So, I feel touching her would be, that is, touching or feeling the beauty of Juliet, make blessed my rude hand. I am a man, my hands are rude, but if I have a feeling of just even touching that beauty, I feel blessed. Okay, I feel blessed my rude hand. Did my heart love till now? He is asking the question to himself. Did my heart love till now? You know that what is the background to the story? He was loving Rosaline there, isn't it? So Rosaline was a lady to whom he was supposed to go and meet in the supper in disguise, isn't it? But the moment he saw, he forgot everything there, isn't it? So that's why he's asking this question to himself. Did my heart love till now? Forswear it sight? No. This sight, what is there right in front of me? What is there right in front of Romeo now? It's Juliet's beauty, isn't it? So forswear it sight, for I never saw true beauty till this night. By telling these last two concluding lines, he concludes his monologue by saying that my heart has never seen a true beauty till this night. So this is Act 1 and Scene 5 of the play, where Romeo is seeing Juliet for the first time. Okay, please make sure that you note all the similes that are used by Shakespeare in order to describe or in order to tell us about the beauty of Juliet. Okay, now this is the first monologue spoken by Romeo on Juliet. Okay, so this happens in Act 1 and Scene 5th of the play. That's all you have from the Romeo's words to what he feels on Juliet's part. I hope I'm clear. Okay, so once again let me very quickly recapitulate about what are the feelings that came to Romeo the moment he saw Juliet. The first thing is that she teaches torches to burn bright. That is, the beauty of Juliet is something which can be taught to the torches, that how can you grow bright. That means that the beauty of Juliet was brighter than those of torches that were around in the party or in the dance floor. It seems she hangs upon the cheek of night. So she was compared to the cheek of a knight. Why? Because of her glow. Because of her glow. And she was compared to a rich jewel that was in an African's ear. African ear is made reference because all other men and women who were there in the on the dance floor were very what can I say? They were not much, or they were very dull, or they were very black in color, where only the glow was Juliet's face or Juliet's beauty. Beauty too rich for use. Why? Because she belongs to the Lord Capulet's family, isn't it? So beauty which was very rich to use, and also which was very favorite, which was very too dear for earth as well because of her beauty. Then she was showing herself as a snowy dove. That is, she was herself a very brighter, very fairer dove who was around the trooping crows who were around her in the dance ball or in the dance floor. Okay, and as a yonder lady over her fellows shows. So she was the ultimate beauty that anyone could see in the dance floor, so as Romeo did. That's what he says there. Then the measure was done. So I took a decision. The measure was done. I will watch her place of stand. I will not go anywhere now. I will just stand here and just have a look at the beauty that I have never seen before in my life. I will watch her place of stand, and touching hers, just a feeling that comes to my mind in the form of touching her makes me feel that my rude hands are blessed. That is, my rude hands will be blessed if I touch a beauty like Juliet. Then he starts asking a question to himself. Did my heart love till now? He's asking a question to himself, like, did my heart really love till now? Why? Because the background to the story there, like, he was supposed to meet someone, but the moment he saw Juliet, he forgot everything else, and he was just looking, or he was just attracted, or he was just fascinated to the beauty of Juliet. So he asks a question, did my heart love till now? He says, forswear, yes, forswear it, the sight of Juliet in the dance floor. I have never seen a true beauty till this night in my life. He admits the fact that I have never seen a beauty, or that I have never seen a lady who is so beautiful like Juliet ever in my life. So he comes to a kind of a conclusion that I have almost fallen in love with you for the first time that I have seen you. Okay, so that is the end of the Act 1, Scene 5th monologue that was said, or that was spoken by Romeo, describing the beauty of Juliet when he saw her for the first time on the dance floor. Okay, now this is the first monologue here. Okay, there are so many figures of speech that are being used by Shakespeare here. and you got to make a note of the similes that were used in order to what can I say, in order to showcase the beauty where he makes the comparison. Okay, so in these 6 to 8 lines or maybe 10 lines are here, and you can just identify the similes that are used by Shakespeare in revealing or in telling us about the beauty of Juliet from the mouth of Romeo. So you can just make a note of the different similes that are used. Snowy dove, a jewel, isn't it? Torch. She was the one who can, teach the torture to glow brighter, isn't it? And the beauty was something which was always fascinated to this man. That is to the main character Romeo here. So with this we come to an end of the monologue spoken by Romeo here. Okay, now I just wanted to tell you one more thing here, like this main poem, especially the first unit, that is Romeo and Juliet, can be asked for 1 or for 4 marks or maybe for 6 marks. I just saw this previous year question paper, that is to your seniors, that this poem was asked for 5 marks. There was one question that was asked for 1 mark, okay, and there was one short answer question that was asked from the same unit. So that was around 5 marks will be prescribed. I don't know whether you will be asked only 1 mark for your examination, or you may be asked a question on short answer, or you may also be asked a question on long answer as well. But you see to it that you have a content with you to answer any of the questions that will be asked. Okay, so see to it that you should have specific things in your mind of answering the question, whether it is a 1 mark or maybe a short answer or maybe a long answer or something. Okay, so this is it about Romeo describing the beauty of Juliet when he saw her for the first time. Okay, so in the next class of mine, I will tell you what Juliet thinks of Romeo, and that I will be doing in my English 5th class. So I come to an end of English 4th class here. Maybe you can watch this video, repeat it again and again, and something, whatever that you want to do, and just see to it that note down the similes that are used by Shakespeare in terms of comparing the beauty of Juliet. So Romeo has spoken these words, obviously written by William Shakespeare, and you just got to make a note of the similes that are used by the poet or the playwright. Okay, thank you very much. Meet you in the next class with the continuation of what Juliet thinks of Romeo, or what she wants him to become in his life. So further in that monologue, the play a little bit progresses in the further way, where you will be told about what actually Juliet thinks of Romeo. That I will do it in the next class.